a lot of people understand when you say an MSP should be treated like a partner, not a customer. That's a subtle but hugely important distinction. What do you mean by it? Because I think other people might say, What's the difference?"
Listen, I think it's easy to put a product with a set of feature and functionalities that solves a problem in front of an MSP and then they can acquire it from us. But at that point, they're just a customer. What I mean by treating them a partner means that we've got folks that are tied to them as a partner that want to know them. They want to know what they're trying to do, what markets they're going after, what are they doing from a service catalog perspective? What are they offering in the marketplace? Are they interested in us helping them create new offerings with them? Helping them understand that maybe we can take a look at their profitability and help them find ways to be more profitable.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the MSP Zone podcast. I'm Charles Weaver. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that I keep coming across over the last couple of years specifically, which is a lot of you may be familiar with a company called LogMeIn and all of the many, many products that LogMeIn had created and acquired over the years. And well, maybe not so much overnight, but that brand has been rebranded into GoTo, a whole new company, which is doing some pretty exciting stuff, not just in technology in general, but specifically for MSPs. So that's why we are having this podcast. Now, a quick promise, this is not going to be a vendor pitch, but this is going to be a legitimate kind of historical review of a brand and a set of products that has been out there for quite some time, being legitimately used by a lot of MSPs. And just to catch up with that company and to figure out, where did they come from? Where are they now and where are they going? Because I think that that's incredibly relevant from a vendor ecosystem standpoint, because there's a lot of MSPs who are looking for new and exciting tools and technologies. Maybe they're, a little dissatisfied with what they currently have and they're just looking to expand. So I think that this is a perfectly relevant topic to be tackling on the MSP Zone. And to help us with that monumental task, I'm joined by Steve Shattuck, GoTo's channel leader focused on partner ecosystems, channels, MSPs, alliances, and how GoTo engages the partner community globally. We're going to be talking a lot about their brand, a lot about their products, what they're doing, what they're seeing in the MSP space, get some of Steve's takeaways on MSP trends within their partner ecosystem, and then we'll finish with some exciting news about GoTo and MSP Alliance and what we're going to be doing jointly in 2026 to promote cyber hygiene, cyber and MSP maturity and compliance best practices for the profession. Steve, welcome to the MSP Zone.
Hey, good afternoon, Charles. Super excited to be here and for the introduction, and always loved the opportunity to kind of chat about where LogMeIn came from and where GoTo is going. Thrilled to be here.
So, full disclosure, I mean, I did. We did a lot of work. I did a lot of work specifically with LogMeIn at your headquarters in Boston. Fantastic facility there. You still have that, right? I think.
We do. We have a fabulous facility down in the waterfront area, and so
Yep.
it's such a great place for folks to work at it because you've got restaurants and places to go in the evening, and it's just in such a historic location. Yeah, great building.
Yeah, no, it really is. If you've never been there, well, make an appointment first, but you could drive by and check it out. It's a pretty cool building in a pretty cool area. Look, a lot of people know LogMeIn. I knew LogMeIn. I did a lot of work with LogMeIn. Could you just give us the 30,000 foot view of what happened? Because there was a lot did happen, and people may have, and you had a lot of you have a lot of brands, a
Yep.
lot of products.
Yep.
What did happen? I guess let's start there.
Great question. So, but I get that all the time, right? When we're bringing the LogMeIn brand back out, and I hear it from a lot of people. Oh, I used to work with LogMeIn. I love LogMeIn. I didn't know you guys were still around and things like that. And which it's not the greatest thing to hear. I didn't know you guys were still around. But LogMeIn has a long history of providing enterprise grade remote support solutions for going back 20 years. 20 years plus. In 2016-17 timeframe, we merged with Citrix GoTo. And so the GoTo meeting product portfolio and stuff within Citrix, we merged with them. And a couple years later, we were acquired by PE. And so then, as happens when you get acquired by PE, a lot of decisions gets made in terms of how you're going to align the product portfolio and the strategy and branding. And the decision was made to go to market with the GoTo brand. And so the Logmein products were rebranded as GoTo products. The market didn't love that idea. They didn't love that the Logmein products were rebranded as GoTo. And we heard it, and we heard it consistently. In one part of the market, the GoTo brand has got extremely strong brand recognition. And in another part of the market, the Logmein brand had really strong market recognition. And in 2025, we decided to bring the Logmein brand back. And so if you look at GoTo, GoTo is the parent company. And we have the GoTo unified communications collaboration side of the business. So all of the legacy collaboration software, unified communication software is all still GoTo branded. Absolutely world-class unified communications products. But then we brought the Logmein products back for our IT-centric focus products. So we used to have a bunch of products. We're now consolidated around really two kind of go-to-market motions. On the enterprise remote support side with Logmein Rescue, which has been our flagship enterprise grade, really the de facto standard in that space for remote support. And Resolve, of which Resolve MSP is a skewed version of Resolve. Resolve being our all-in-one ITSM platform for unified endpoint management and MDM and all those kinds of things. So it's on the Logmein side, and we're super excited to bring the Logmein brand back. We've brought it back at a few trade shows recently, and people seem to be really excited about seeing that brand back. So that gets me pumped. So now moving forward in 2026, we're really taking our two main products to market under the Logmein brand, Logmein Rescue and Logmein Resolve, of which Logmein Resolve MSP really is been tailored and focused on the MSP space.
It's not a bad problem to have when you have two brands that are equally viable and valuable. I mean, when I think of it, it's not a bad problem to have.
No, it's not. Like that, they both have great brand recognition. I haven't met anybody who hasn't heard of GoTo or Logmein in the tech space. I think we just kind of confused the market for a while about what we were kind of doing with the portfolios and with the names. But I feel confident we've kind of sorted it out, and I think moving forward we won't have that confusion.
So, all right. So you have what I may call the not VoIP, but communications side of the house for that. Maybe the more telephony
Correct.
focused channel company, and then you have maybe the more data side of the house with legacy IT remote managed tools. There is that a fair division of those two brands right now?
Exactly. No, you're spot on, Charles.
Yeah, password management. Dare I ask, did you spin that off, or is that still with you guys?
Nope, we spun that off. So LastPass was spun off, and they're now operating successfully on their own. But that was before my tenure here. But yeah, password management with LastPass was spun off.
Got it. Because I know, yeah, I just, for the record, just making sure everyone's on the same page. When you've always had a channel program, right? You've always been a very solid channel organization. What, if anything, has changed in terms of GoTo's or Logmein's
Yeah,
approach to the channel in 2026?
great question. One that I'm obviously deeply passionate about because that's a part of the business that I own, and that I'm just knee deep in every day, sometimes all day. What we made the decision to do was really create two tailor-made world-class partner organizations focused on the unique needs of the segments we're going after. Prior to my arrival, we had one partner program that kind of covered both the unified communication side, the telephony side, and the ITSM side. And it was a great program. In fact, my peer on the GoTo side, Michael Day, just won a Channel Chief Award from CRN. His program just won an award from CRN. And so massive kudos to him and what he's been able to build over there. But one of the reasons I came to GoTo on the Logmein side, Charles, was to help build a tailor-made partner channel program for the Logmein product portfolio and the unique needs of our partners on that side. And so when I say partner, I mean traditional VAR, GSIs, MSPs, as well as tech alliance partners, whether they be OEMs or ISVs, and creating a comprehensive strategy across all of those. And so we've been redesigning for the last few months our partner programs, and we're going to start rolling them out here in March. We're going to launch we're going to launch a new VAR program in the beginning of March. We're going to hopefully launch a new MSP program in April, and then follow that on quickly with the GSI program. And what that means, like one of the things that we haven't done well is really kind of document and codify a program and tiering and discounting and what you get for being part of the program and what we're going to do from a co-branding, co-marketing. What are we going to do to help spotlight your business? What are we going to do in terms of going out and getting involved in marketing events together? What are we going to do in providing ongoing training support for you? All of that stuff is now being bundled together in new programs focused on each one of those segments. So we'll provide those benefits to the VAR community, to the MSP community, and the GSI community. And I'm pretty excited about what we built, and excited to launch those next month.
Who would you, because I understand you could have some variances between, let's say, the VAR or a system integrator,
Mhm.
partner. From an MSP standpoint, who are you really targeting? Are you enterprise? I mean, I know that some of your tools have been kind of enterprise grade, but how would you classify your 2026 MSP kind of target ambitions?
Great example. I think where we're trying to meet the market right now, and we've got a great tool on our website that talks about the MSP maturity model. And there's some great free content on there for folks to go and kind of take a look at like how we look at the maturity of an MSP. And what we want to do is try and meet them where they are in their journey. I would say right now, where we've had an awful lot of success, Charles, is on the emerging and the growing MSP. The folks that are either kind of just jumping into the MSP market, or they've been in it for a while, but now they're ready to really kind of grow to that next level. There's some folks that play at the enterprise MSP level really, really successfully, and we think that where we can add value in the marketplace right now is in that emerging and growing MSP space, and that's where we've seen the bulk of our success here in the first year.
As you are looking at the vendor community to MSPs as it stands today, over the last 10 years, undoubtedly there's been change, right?
Yeah,
There's been private equity infusion into a lot of the vendor platforms. I don't want to name, pull anyone out, but there's been some good progress. Not all of it's been positive. So I think that there are lessons to be learned. Are there any lessons or takeaways that you or your team over at GoTo are taking away from the last 10 years and saying, hey, look, we could probably do this better as we approach MSPs kind of, moving into the new year?
yeah, yeah. I think you are being trying to be a little nice in terms of how you're describing some of the changes over the last few years. But listen, there's been a lot of consolidation in the space. There's been some good consolidation and some consolidation that maybe people have felt a little strong armed in certain ways in terms of technology decisions that they've got to make. And we absolutely don't want to take that approach. We want to provide what we think is an all-in-one solution into the MSP space where they can pick and choose the features and functionality that are working for them where they are in their journey. And we want to make it simple to use and adopt. We don't want it to have to be a science project to adopt a new technology. And we don't want to force somebody to have to own 100% of what we have to offer. Right. If you have an RMM solution that's working well for you, but that you're really searching for an MDM solution, we'll come in and support you there, and vice versa, and then hope to add in some of our other value added features if they make sense, if they help you become more profitable, if they help you become more competitive, if they help you be a better MSP, then we want to be a part of that. We want to do everything with extremely high security. I think more and more and more the MSPs are now responsible for the IP and data security of their clients. And there's different levels of expertise at the MSP space on how to do that. And so we want to incorporate that into our tooling. So you don't necessarily have to be a security expert to be able to deliver secure solutions to your customers. And we want to do all that on the back of our 20 plus years of just providing enterprise reliability. But we don't want to strong arm anybody. We want to bring solutions that are easy to consume, easy to use, and then add value. That's really where we're kind of seeing it. And we are seeing a bunch of tool consolidation, and some of it is beneficial for the MSPs because they're seeing value in consolidating tool sets. Some of it maybe they're being pushed into it, maybe not seeing the value. And we want to always continue to have some flexibility and openness about how we meet our MSPs needs. We want the MSPs to really enjoy doing business with us. We want to provide continued. One of the things that I think is unique about us is that we provide a white glove onboarding experience. We take that very seriously. We have a dedicated team of customer care specialists that help onboard each and every MSP, and it doesn't matter how big or how small you are. You all get the same. You get the same attention to detail from this white glove team, and that team will stay engaged with you the life cycle of your relationship with us forever. So it's one of the things that we're trying to bring to the market from a unique way, and just have people be really thrilled and pleased about partnering with us.
Yeah, no, it's great. Um, a if I assume incorrectly, let me know. But I I might I might guess that GoTo has quite an extensive partner community of non MSPs that may today or in the last few years or maybe even in the next coming years are saying, wow, we want to get into managed services. How do we do it? Is that an accurate statement, first of all?
Absolutely fair, and it's interesting because when we look at the reseller, the VAR community, the MSP community. We see both communities doing both motions, right? We have MSPs that like to do a little bit of reselling, and we have resellers that like to do a little MSPing, and we have big resellers that like to do big MSPing. And so like I said, we want to meet folks where they are. And while our tailor-made product for MSPs is Resolve MSP for ITSM, and there's no reason why we can't also meet an MSP who wants to provide remote support services in an MSP fashion. We're providing that and working with folks to do that every day. And while our primary kind of MSP motion is around Resolve MSP, we're still doing it with Rescue as well.
I mean, that's actually a really good position to be in because if you see like the big three MSP platform vendors, I would say most people, most MSPs would characterize their recruitment strategies as stealing from the other two, right? They're all trying to take from each other. But you're in the position where you might have some non-committed VARs or resellers or SIs that are just out there big enough in their legacy model that they could sustain themselves historically, but now they really have customers maybe pulling them into managed services. That's a huge opportunity for you guys.
Oh, no doubt. Actually, one is, you know, uh, maybe in 2 months, you and I can reconvene, and I can tell you a story about one that I'm working on right now with a large reseller who has a large MSP practice that they're trying to launch a completely new service into the marketplace with us, combining us and another large SaaS provider in the marketplace. Um, to really bring value to the market into the mid market, which was previously being, the previously just being focused on the enterprise. How do you bring some of these enterprise software components and features in an integrated way into the mid market and make it affordable and consumable? And I think that's going to be a great opportunity for these VARs to get into the MSP space.
If you look at again the legacy, the traditional MSP vendors who went through a lot of consolidation, there could be realistically a claim made that they were trying to be a Swiss Army knife. They were trying to be everything and have a tool, every single tool that you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily if that's the best approach, but I asked that of you. Is that
Yeah.
your approach? Is that
No,
GoTo's approach, or how would you
no.
characterize that?
No, I would say definitively it's not our approach, right? I mean, like a lot of it comes down to a few questions you've got to ask yourself. One, what do you have in terms of scalability of development and engineering resources? Or what can you actually bring to the market? What development and engineering capacity do you have? And then do you want to bring a bunch of middle of the road products to the market, or do you want to bring a few world class products to the market? And our approach is the latter. We want to bring a few world class, feature rich products to the market. There's some things that we're not going to do. We are not going to build our own PSA. We're not going to build our own backup solution. But what I do is I do have an integration with other PSAs, and I will continue to expand my ecosystem of PSAs that I integrate. I will continue to add the ability to integrate into invoicing systems. I've currently got a really strong partnership with Acronis on the data protection and endpoint security. So we actually have a fully integrated OEM partnership with Acronis. And so with Resolve, we actually have a data protection suite that you can actually purchase in conjunction with Resolve as a fully integrated backup DR endpoint security platform as well. We can't build that. And the time and effort to go out and build a PSA is unrealistic. So my perspective would be, let me go out and partner with best of breed in that space. Let me focus on my core competencies and make sure that I deliver a world-class RMM solution, a world-class MDM solution, a world-class support solution with some really, really compelling AI features built into it. That's where I'm strong. And then I'm going to go partner out into the ecosystem to gain scale in those feature sets that I'm not going to build.
Yeah, no, it's real. I think that that is a sensible, practical approach in 2026, and yeah, one that reflects a best of breed approach of IT procurement for a lot of MSPs that I talk to. What are your partners, the MSPs you're talking to? What's on top of mind for them in 2026?
Yeah. I mean, listen, like there's a few things that are always top of mind for MSPs. How do I
Outside of more
grow?
money,
Yeah. How do I grow? How do I grow? And how do I get myself more profitable? How do I make more profit and how do I grow? And I think part of it is making sure that you're delivering really compelling solutions out into the marketplace. And then the question comes back, like, how do you do that? And I would say that some of the conversations that we get, we talked on one of them, tool consolidation. It's a conversation that comes up all the time. Can we replace two or three higher priced tools with maybe one middle priced tool? And yes, we can. Another question that we get asked is like, how do we start incorporating good security practices into everything that you do? Security just can't be an afterthought anymore. It has to be incorporated from day one into everything you do. And then how do I leverage AI? We get that a lot. Like AI is obviously agentic and generative AI is in a massive hype cycle right now in every industry, right? I mean, I don't think we've seen a hype cycle like AI since maybe the cloud boom. And everybody's got to have an AI strategy. For us, our strategy is that our customers and our MSPs shouldn't have to know anything about AI. What they should be able to do is benefit from the outcomes of AI that we're going to build for them. And we'll handle all the sausage making, Charles. You don't have to know what's going on behind the scenes, but the benefits that you're going to see are going to be incredible. I know we didn't want to turn this into a product-y kind of thing, but
yeah,
there are some really cool things that we're doing in the AI space that whether it's with us or another vendor, that I think our MSP should have expectations that when people say it's AI powered, which is quickly becoming one of my most annoying phrases is to hear AI powered. Because really, I don't really care what's powering it. What our customers need to know, what is the outcome? What am I going to get out of it? And you could power it with whatever you want, right? But like really what I'm buying is an outcome. And so some of the things that I think MSPs should expect from their vendors are AI technologies that help them be more efficient and save time and just get better at the job. And to that end, like there's a couple things that we're doing. They're just super neat. And I won't sell you on them too hard, but just things that folks should think about. One is AI reporting. We added this thing called Dynamic Insights, Charles, that is it's so incredibly cool because it allows our MSP partners to just use natural language to tell Dynamic Insights what it wants to see from a reporting perspective. And it'll create dynamic on the spot reports just from natural language. It's really, really impressive. And then one that I think a lot of people are doing is trying to figure out, all right, how do you use AI to create virtual technicians to offload some of the easier to solve tasks, but have it just really easily integrated into your platform. And then in terms of saving times, one of the things that has really been adopted really quickly are our AI session notes. And so the entire time that somebody's having a session with an end user, we're actually tracking everything that's happened during that session. We're taking screenshots, we're monitoring the dialogue, and we will actually create a written session note for that technician. And all they have to do, they can look at it. And if they like the way it looks, they can accept it and they can import it into a separate knowledge base or whatever they want to do, or they can modify it. but it's generated automatically and it just saves so much time. And oftentimes, if you're into a 20 or 30-minute session, do you really remember what you did the first 5 or 10 minutes?
Right.
Often not. And so we're doing that. And we will take those session notes if you want, and we will actually turn those into knowledge base articles for you as well. Uh, to again just help save time. And listen, we've got 3 or 4 other really, really compelling AI features that we could go into. But again, we don't want to make this a product pitch, but I want MSPs to know there are really, really cool capabilities for AI in the marketplace that can have demonstrable outcomes for you. So it's not just a buzzword. It's not just, somebody saying it's AI powered. It's got to provide something that saves me time, helps me be more competitive, make more money, and expect that of your vendor. Whether it's us or anybody else, expect that of your vendor.
I agree with that. I think it's easier to find products that aren't involving AI right now than to focus on everything else, which is because I think it's the vast majority of tools, soon to be
Yeah.
100% of tools.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how your approach to, because MSPs listening, watching this might be saying, okay, well, because again, if they're embedded with one of the big three and they get approached by the other two, the natural pitch is, hey, we want the entire business, whether they're going to get it or not, but they know ultimately that they're going to be tried. They're going to try to get them away from their platform of choice and then get onto a new platform where everything is just replaced. If that's not the go-to approach, what would you say your pitch is to an already committed MSP that's in one of those ecosystems, if that makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, if somebody wants to allow me to rip and replace their entire ecosystem and put it on my platform, of course, I'm willing to do that. But that's a lot of work, and that can be a big, big headache, and that can take a lot of time, and you can inject risk into your operations. And so, what we want to do is come and be really consultative in our approach to conversation, and understand what's working for you, what's not working for you. And if there's parts of your operations either that you don't have that we can add in, or that just don't seem to be working for you, we're not going to ask you to rip and replace everything. We will work with you to provide the capabilities that you need. If there's other parts of your tool set that are working just fine, it's not responsible for us as vendors to expect every 2 to 3 years for somebody to completely retool their operations. It's just not efficient. But that's kind of been the game for years, right? Is for us to come in and expect everyone to switch everything over to me. If you don't have a working MDM solution, I can come in and just do that for you. If your RMM solution is left leaving something to be desired, I can come in and do that for you. If you'd like to see what some of our AI tooling can do for you, yeah, let's just work on that. If maybe your endpoint security and your disaster recovery and backup, is it living up to everything? We can solve that need for you, and you don't have to adopt my entire platform.
Yeah, and it sounds like you already have. You mentioned Acronis and some other strategic partners. I would assume that you have a pretty good strategic partner community of people who are complementing go-to technologies that you just don't want to invest in for whatever reason.
Yeah. So part of what I'm doing over here is actually taking a step back and taking a look at all of our current ISVs and partnerships and identifying which are the ones that we want to double down into, which are the ones that we really want to invest into, which are the ones we want to move from more just an ISV and into a true partnership. Having an integration is one thing. Having a partnership is a totally different thing. And then getting really prescriptive about how we kind of evaluate that over time, where we're spending our field time and where we're spending our engineering time to make sure that we're building compelling partnerships that make value and make sense in the marketplace. And then always looking, right? We're always talking. We're always looking for folks that see value in our platform and see value in either us integrating with them or them with us, and see if we can build a better together story with folks. And so we're selective about who we partner with, but we want to be really, really focused on building the right partnerships moving forward.
Discipline,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah. Um, so you've got the two brands that are kind of back together, sharing the same tent. You've got a good array of products, and I'm assuming legacy happy partners. You guys are global, right? I mean, I'm
Correct.
pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We're global. We operate in every major geo. We have teams throughout Europe, obviously North America, Latin America, South America, India. I'm actually jumping on a plane on Sunday, Charles, to head to India for a week, and then heading to London and then Switzerland the week after that to visit with the teams. So yeah, we're all over.
Well,
Yeah,
fun travel. When we talked and teased a little bit earlier. GoTo and MSP Alliance we're going to be working closely together this year on MSP compliance initiatives. The whole world is whether it's driven by AI, I think it's a relatively small portion of the story, but MSPs play such a vital role in today's cyber defensive makeup. And especially the smaller SMB focused MSPs, right? They are the only thing stopping the bad actors from getting into their clients, you know, um, networks and
yeah.
systems. Um, that that places on vendors like GoTo an incredible amount of kind of responsibility, because you guys are equipping these MSPs to go out into battle, as it were. And so this is I think this is a momentous part of the IT channel. Going back decades, we've all been kind of gearing up and getting ready for this moment in time. It seems like.
No, I agree, and you're spot on, right? I mean, it's such listen, like there is so much threat activity happening out in the IT space, and it's only going to continue to accelerate, which is why we're excited to be partnering with you and in the Cyber Verify program, and to continue to look at the market in terms of how we can help our MSPs protect themselves and protect their customers. Whether the threat's coming from traditional hacking or, from phishing or whatever it is, the threats, they just never stop. The MSPs, they're oftentimes their end users, their clients, they're not often sophisticated IT people, which is why they're using an MSP, and they're not doing anything from a threat detection or a threat remediation perspective. And so that burden is going to continue to fall on the MSPs. And we really want to be a part of it. So in a couple ways, one, our product has to be rock solid from a security perspective. Zero trust is a part of like everything that we do. And I think that incorporating zero trust technologies and zero trust methodologies is critical. And then being able to extend that out into the services that our MSPs can deliver, whether it be security at the endpoint or the mobile device, or really actually doing endpoint threat detection. We need to be able to provide solutions for them that they can easily deploy and provide that value to their customers.
Do you think that the less MSP centric partners in your community, more the resellers, the VARs, the SIs, maybe they do more project work. Are they starting to sense the real potential for them to be more active in as a managed IT service provider with all these threats? I mean,
Yeah.
do you think does
No-
that make sense?
yeah, absolutely. No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, whether they're providing it from a managed service perspective as an add-on service within their VAR or their reseller, or they're just adding to their portfolio of solutions, other vendors in this space, whether be the CrowdStrikes of the world or the Sentinel ones or whatever it may be, or the traditional perimeter security companies like Checkpoint and Palo Alto and those guys. They're adding those capabilities either into their portfolio of products they can sell or into their consulting services that they can deliver if they're not even delivering it as a fully managed security service. Absolutely, they're seeing the opportunity to do that, which is another reason why MSPs should jump on the bandwagon and make sure that being able to speak the language and deliver solutions in the security space it's just critical for growth and success and sustainability of any MSP.
So you have a vibrant global channel program, multiple strains of different styles of channel partners already. What are you looking at as a kind of a core metric of success for you guys in 2026? I mean, is it growing more the partner base, or is it seeing the maturity level of the existing partners evolve?
Yes. So I've kind of got different KPIs and metrics and things that I'm looking at depending on the segment, right? And I would say in the traditional VAR reseller community, I think one of the things that I'd like us to do a little bit better job this year is making sure that that we are partnered with the right VARs and the right resellers to deliver our solutions, and that our solutions have kind of some compelling offerings. One of the things that's interesting about our portfolio, whether it be at the enterprise level or at the mid market level, are our integrations. And I think bundled joint solutions of two or three different vendors together, delivered by of our service provider, just adds tremendous value. So I'd like to see a little bit more partnering with my ISVs and my partners within the VAR community. I'd like to onboard more VARs this year. I'm growing my VAR team. I'd like to onboard more VARs, and continue to expand that. Obviously, just growth, right? We want to acquire new customers. In the MSP space, I've completely revamped a bunch of things. One, we're revamping the whole program, but I've completely revamped the coverage model as well in terms of how we actually sell and maintain and support MSPs. Before, we had a single team that was responsible for acquiring MSPs, maintaining MSPs, taking care of them. We've now separated that activity to folks that really understand what it takes for an MSP to acquire our software and adopt it on the front end. And then we have another team that will manage the life cycle of that customer from an expansion and a growth perspective, and helping to become more profitable, partnering them with on marketing events, helping teach them about all of the different products in our portfolio and see which ones might fit into their go to market. So have a team that's really just there on the care and feeding. And then we have a new dedicated team that's going to be helping on kind of the post sale support side for MSPs when they run into technical issues. So we're really revamping everything. The program's going to be revamped. The incentives are going to be revamped. All the benefits we give to our MSPs. It's going to be a pretty exciting year for the MSP program this year.
I mean, that's an understatement. I mean, I mean, this is a long time in the making coming to
Yeah,
this moment. It seems like.
yeah. I've been burning the candle for the last few months since I joined, just trying to evaluate all the programs and see what we can do to make them more compelling. So we're pretty excited
No,
about where we are.
that's amazing. Yeah. I think MSPs are just, they want to be treated well. They want to have technology that works. They want to have a vendor relationship that is a two-way street. I
Yeah.
think these are kind of just fundamentals of a good MSP channel program.
I think one of the things, if I'm candid, like I'm not sure we treated MSPs as partners last year. We might have treated them a little bit too much like customers, and we started to make the pivot. And I've restructured the teams in North America and in EMEA to really be focused on the fact that it's not just about acquiring MSPs as customers. That's important, but it's being invested in their growth and their life cycle to help them get to where they want to be. And so that's where I've invested in terms of building out the team, is really in that helping them grow and expand their business.
I don't think a lot of people understand when you say an MSP should be treated like a partner, not a customer. That's a subtle but hugely important distinction. What do you mean by it? Because I think other people might say, What's the difference?"
Listen, I think it's easy to put a product with a set of feature and functionalities that solves a problem in front of an MSP, and then they can acquire it from us. But at that point, they're just a customer. What I mean by treating them as a partner means that we've got folks that are tied to them as a partner, that want to know them. They want to know what they're trying to do, what markets they're going after, what are they doing from a service catalog perspective? What are they offering in the marketplace? Are they interested in us helping them create new offerings with them? Helping them understand that maybe we can take a look at their profitability and help them find ways to be more profitable. Maybe we can actually spotlight them on podcasts like this. Maybe we can spotlight them on our website. Maybe we can have them we can sponsor them to speak at events, and we can highlight their successes in the marketplace. But be really invested in what it's going to take to help them grow. Obviously, their growth is potentially critical to us as they grow. Hopefully that's business for us. But when we get focused on just selling a product as opposed to focused on them as a partner, I think we lose sight of what's important.
Not just transactional, but long-term
Long term,
relationship synergy.
every large MSP started small. Every single one of them, 100% of them started small, right? So we want to be there for that journey. We want to help them grow.
Very exciting. Yeah. So you've got partner programs launching imminently, like next month, maybe
Yep.
April.
Yep,
Yeah. Okay.
we're gonna launch. We're gonna start with VAR, the new VAR programs, then followed by the MSP programs, then the GSI program, and then the Tech Alliance partnership program.
And if people are interested in learning more about what you guys do, take a look at your products, where should they go online? The GoTo website?
Yeah, so you can go either, right? So we brought the LogMeIn brand back. If you're really interested in seeing what we're doing with like LogMeIn, just hit up LogMeIn and then you go from there. Or if you want to see the breadth of the portfolio across unified communications and the LogMeIn portfolio, you can go to the GoTo website.
I think we're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff in 2026, and we're really happy to be working with GoTo and your team. And yeah, I'm just super thrilled about everything. And thanks for giving us this kind of update because, like I said, you guys have been around forever, and you have a lot of legacy tools that people probably like. Oh yeah, I know those tools. I probably use those
Exactly.
tools, and but you've had some pretty curious brand evolution, but all for the better.
No, I think we're in a fun spot right now, right? I think that we've got a lot of clarity in terms of like what we're trying to do and what we're trying to bring in the marketplace. And now 2026 is kind of going to be a year of execution, right? Like let's roll out the programs, let's start growing the partner communities, and let's continue to grow this business.
Very exciting stuff. Steve Shattuck from GoTo, thank you for coming on to the podcast. Keep us posted on everything that you guys are doing. It'll be exciting to see this execution of strategy, and wish you all the best this year.
Charles, I appreciate it, and it was really timely for me given all that's happening. So I appreciate the time.
Sounds good.